Hello everyone, welcome to the virtual class of standard costing. In previous two sessions, I have started discussion on fixed overhead variances. So today I would like to continue same area of calculation of variances with the information of IT that we have not covered in earlier sessions. Let us refer the question first. Calculate all possible variances related to fixed overheads. Particular budgeted data, actual data. Budgeted output is 2500 units while actual output is 2475 units. Fixed overheads 75,000 rupees and 78,000 rupees actual. Working hours 5,000 budgeted, actual 5,100. Number of working days are 25 in a budgeted section and 23 in actual section. Idle time, it is given in actual data as 500 hours. This is new information for all of us because we are discussing these items very first time. So let us concentrate on the solution of the problem and try to understand where the information of IT is affected to our calculation. For the purpose of solution, first of all, we need to calculate budgeted rate. We can calculate budgeted rate using output, hours and days data. So we can calculate budgeted rate using all three informations. First, budgeted rate per unit, budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted output. Both these informations are ready-made given to us in our question. So need not to worry. Simply find the data and insert in the formula. 75,000 rupees budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted output 2500 units. So it is rupees 30 per unit. Budgeted rate per hour, budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted hours. Simply refer the question and insert the information in formula. 75,000 divided by 5,000 hours. So rupees 50 per hour. And budgeted rate per hour, budgeted rate per day. Formula, budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted number of days. 75,000 rupees given as a budgeted fixed overhead divided by budgeted number of working days 25 as given in the question. So rupees 3,000 per day. For the purpose of our calculation, we need to find out two additional informations that is related to standard or budgeted hours for actual output. It is simple, nothing more than cross multiplication. As per the information, we need to produce 2,500 units in 5,000 hours. So for 2,475 units, how much of time required? It is simple, a cross multiplication. And the result is 4,950 hours. Let us move to the next important item that we need to calculate. It is all about standard or budgeted days for actual output. We have completed this kind of calculation earlier too. Simply, it is a cross multiplication. For the manufacturing of 2,500 units, we are in need of 25 days. So for the purpose of 2,475 units of manufacturing, how many days required? Same as use the cross multiplication and you will get the information in days, 24.75. With 5 basic calculations, budgeted rate per unit, per hour, per day, budgeted hours for actual output and budgeted days for actual output. Now we can move towards the calculation of formulas of different variances related to factory, related to fixed overheads. First, fixed overhead cost variance. As I discussed, there are three different methods to calculate. Let us calculate based on output. Actual output multiplied by budgeted rate minus actual fixed overheads. 2475 units actually produced by the company multiplied by rupees 30 per unit minus actual fixed overheads given in a ready-made form 78,000. 74,250 minus 78,000 equals to 3,750 adverse. We have budgeted expenditure for actual output is a concern 74,250, but we have actually paid rupees 78,000. So here we have paid rupees 3,750 more. So it is adverse. Second option of calculation, that is based on hours. Budgeted hours for actual output multiplied by budgeted rate minus actual fixed overheads. We have completed calculation of budgeted hours for actual output 4,950 over here. So directly insert the data and find out the result. You will get same result 74,250 as a budgeted expenditure and actual cost 78,000. So in this way you can cross check whether your calculations are correct or not. Let us move towards third method of the calculation. It is based on days. Very simple formula. Budgeted days for actual output multiplied by budgeted rate minus actual fixed overheads. 24.75 days that we have completed in our calculation before starting the calculation of variances. It is available to us over here 24.75. So multiplied by 3,000. So amount 74,250. Again it is the same and actual cost is 78,000. 3,750 adverse. So in this way you can calculate your fixed overhead cost variance using output, hours and days. In all three methods your answer remains same. So you can cross check if you want to do it in your examination for your satisfaction and confirmation. Let us move to second item. Fixed overheads budget or expense variance. This is the most easiest variance, as I said. We need not to calculate anything for this. Simply we need to compare budgeted fixed overhead given in the question and actual fixed overhead given in the question. You can check in a budgeted part, fixed overheads are given as rupees 75,000 and as actual information it is given as 78,000. So we have budgeted to pay 75,000 against to which we have paid 78,000 rupees in actual. So we have paid rupees 3,000 in addition to the expected figure. So it is adverse. After calculation of budget or expense variance, let us move to third variance. It is fixed overhead volume or output variance. Naturally, it is based on the units of output given in the question, budgeted rate into bracket budgeted output minus actual output. BR into bracket BO minus AO. Budgeted rate rupees 30 per unit. Here we have to apply budgeted rate per unit because it is a calculation based on output. 2,500 units are given as a budgeted production and actual number of units produced by the company 2,475. So here we have produced less number of units as compared to budget. 2,500 units expected production and 2,475 it is actual production. Here actual production is less by 25 units. So 25 units multiplied by 30 rupees equals to 750. And here actual production is decreased by 25 units. So when the production decrease, it is known as a negative sign for the progress of business, and that is why we need to add suffix of adverse over here. So the result is 750 adverse. After calculation of third, let us enter into fourth variance, fixed overhead calendar variance. For the purpose of your easy reference, I have mentioned in the bracket that the calculation is based on number of days. So use the formula budgeted rate into bracket budgeted days minus actual days. Here we need to apply budgeted rate per day because we need to compare budgeted days and actual days. BR into bracket BD minus AD. Let us enter the data in the formula. Budgeted rate 3000 rupees per day, budgeted days 25 and actual days 23. So here we have received less work for 2 working days. 25 minus 23 is equal to 2 multiplied by 3. So the company is facing loss of rupees 6000. Again, I would like to remind you that it is a fixed expenditure, and this fixed expenditure is paid by the company for the period of 25 days. It means we need to pay same amount for 25 days. But in the same amount, our employees were working for 23 days. It means as an employer, we lost work of 2 days. But we are not at the capacity to reduce their salary because it is a fixed expenditure. So here we have received 2 days less work than that of expectation. It is adverse. So interpretation is also important in fixed overhead. Fifth, fixed overhead capacity variance. Budgeted rate into bracket budgeted hours for actual days minus actual hours. BR BHAD minus AH. First of all, we need to calculate budgeted hours for actual days. It is nothing more than a simple comparison and cross multiplication of the information. For this calculation is a concern, you need to focus on your question. For budgeted information, the examiner provided that budgeted number of days are 25, and in these 25 we are expecting work of 5000 hours, but actually we are working for 23 number of days. So in the proportion of 25 days to 5000 hours, how many hours we can extract, how many hours we can explore from our employees as working hours? Let us enter this information in our question. Budgeted rate rupees 15 per hour. Budgeted hours for actual days 4600 hours only, while your actual working hours are 5100. It means you can have 4600 hours of work in 23 days only. But capacity of your employees are much more than your expectations, and they have actually worked for 5100 hours. So when your employees are working with the higher capacity, this is called higher capacity, it is in your benefit. So this variance is favorable for your company. After calculation of number 5, I would like to discuss most important part of this solution. There is no change in fixed overhead cost variance, fixed overhead budget variance, fixed overhead volume variance, fixed overhead calendar variance, and fixed overhead capacity variance due to the information of IT given in the question. But for the purpose of calculation of efficiency variance, it is affected. So first of all, it is necessary for you to classify the information into two different segments. Total actual working hours given in the question 5,100. Out of these 5,100, clear-cut information is given in the actual part of our question that IT hours are 500. These IT hours means these hours are unproductive. It means the company is not able to get any kind of output in these 500 hours. So out of 5,100, if 500 hours are IT, or you can say unproductive, rest of 4,600 hours defined as a productive time. And for this productive time, we can calculate efficiency variance. In previous question, information of IT was not given, so we have completed our efficiency on the basis of total actual hours given in the question. But in this question, we need to take care that out of total actual hours 5,100, 500 hours spent on unproductive activities. So actual productive time is 4,600 hours only, and efficiency can be calculated on the basis of only productive time because there is zero efficiency in unproductive time. So by taking this thing into consideration, now we need to calculate two variances. First, efficiency variance, and second, IT variance. Let us calculate efficiency variance first. As you all know that we can calculate our efficiency variance using two different methods. Either it should be based on hours or it should be based on output. Let us calculate based on hours. Budgeted rate into bracket budgeted hours for actual output minus actual hours. Budgeted rate, budgeted hours for actual production minus actual hours. Now we need to calculate these things very clearly. 15 rupees per hour, that is our budgeted rate. Budgeted hours for actual production that we have completed at initial stage of our calculation, 4,950 hours minus actual hours 4,600. You can check over here, I have mentioned these 4,600 in a bold letter. Now you need to remember one thing very clearly, and it is most important for you to remember. When information of IT is given, we need to consider actual hours productive for the calculation of efficiency variance. So you can recall the classifications that I have discussed. 5,100 total hours. Out of these 5,100, 500 hours are unproductive. So the difference is 4,600 hours. And these 4,600 is mentioned over here. So using these 4,600 hours, that is actual productive time, we need to calculate efficiency variance. This is the first variance where the information of IT is affected. Now 4,950 hours minus 4,600. So it is 350 multiplied by 15 rupees per hour as given over here. So difference 5250, and it is a favorable. How it is a favorable? we have been given 4,950 hours to complete our work, but we have completed our work in 4,600 working hours. It means we have taken less hours to complete the task. Just imagine if someone has given you 4,950 hours and you will finish your work in 4,600 hours, that is less than that of the given time. Naturally, you are more efficient. So when your employees are more efficient, the difference is regarded as favorable. So take care of this thing very clearly. Now enter into second option, that is calculation of overhead efficiency variance based on output. Budgeted rate into bracket budgeted output for actual hours minus actual output. BOAH minus AO. First of all, we need to calculate budgeted output for actual hours. It is nothing more than a comparison and simple cross multiplication of the budgeted information. As per the budgeted information, 5,000 hours required to produce 2,500 units. You can check these data. It is clearly given in budgeted data part or column of the question. Now, how many actually hours that we have worked? Again, 4,600. Don't forget, when IT is given at the time of efficiency variance, we need to calculate only productive hours, and productive hours are 4,600, 5,100 minus 500 IT. So based on 4,600, you can easily calculate 4,600 multiplied by 2,500 divided by 5,000. Let us enter the data in the formula. Budgeted rate rupees 30 per unit. 2,300 units can be produced by the company in 4,600 units. Sorry, 4,600 hours only. But the company has produced actually 2,475 units. Let me explain again. The expected output is 2,300 units only, but the actual output is 2,475. So when, as compared to budgeted output, when your actual output is increased, your efficiency is referred to as higher efficiency, or you can say your employees are highly efficient. So when your employees are highly efficient, this is a favorable part for your business. So you can say it is 5,250 favorable. Now, because of the information of IT, we need to calculate seventh and last variance. These variance came into existence when the information of IT is given. Otherwise, we need not to calculate IT variance. Very simple formula: budgeted rate multiplied by IT hours. Budgeted rate is given as 15 per hour on the basis of our calculation, and IT information is given ready-made 500, 7,500. It is always adverse. Remember, IT means unproductive time. IT means unproductive time, right? And unproductive time, okay? And for this unproductive time, cost is 7,500. So 7,500 rupees is the cost of unproductive time. So when it is related to unproductive, means your resources are wastage, and as resources are wastage, this is adverse. Always remember, IT variance is always adverse. Always adverse. Now, simply verify all the calculation through the comparative chart. Overhead cost variance 3750 adverse, budget variance 3000 adverse, volume 750, and volume further classified into 4 parts: calendar, capacity, efficiency, and IT. I hope everyone is clear with the calculation mentioned over here. Thank you. Keep watching next sessions. God bless you. Keep learning. Keep growing.